Hi friends, welcome back to Faith and Arrow Homestead. My name is Jaylee and today we're going to talk about starting seeds indoors. If you are throwing around the idea of starting a garden, then you've probably heard about or thought about starting your seeds indoors yourself, and it is definitely something that I recommend. But it is not necessarily something that you can always just jump right into. There's a little bit of infrastructure involved. And so today I want to talk to you guys about what you really need to start seeds indoors. Now, quite a bit of this is my opinion. There are so many different ways that you could start seeds indoors. So what I speak to you about today is going to be based on my own personal experience. So just keep that in mind. And if this is something you're really considering, maybe look around. There are other videos on this, other people talking about this, blog posts on this. And I always encourage, if you're getting into something for the first time, doing some research. But I'm going to talk to you about this from my perspective and go over the products that I recommend using if you want to start your own seeds indoors. So the very first piece of infrastructure that I recommend is getting some sort of rack. Here's mine, and I actually have some plants that I started already, and we're going to talk about these in a different video. But I bought this rack from Target, and I actually don't know if they sell this exact one anymore, but it's 5 tiers, and it's actually pretty tall. I know you can't see all the way up in this video, but it's a pretty tall rack, and like I said, it has 5 adjustable tiers, and the adjustable part was important for me because I have things of various heights in here at different times of the year. Right now at the bottom, I have 3 mature rosemary plants, and so this bottom rack I actually lifted way up so that I could have room for them down there. But then here in a few months, when it's time for me to start my seedlings, I'll spread them out again so that I have more room to start my seedlings. So I'll have some sort of rack listed, linked down in the description for you, likely from Amazon, because again, I don't think Target sells this one anymore. Another thing that I'd like to say about it is that I recommend getting one where the shelves are this wire material and not solid, because I hang my grow lights off of the shelving unit itself, and having the bars is very, very helpful for that. I think I spent $80 on this one rack. You can get ones that are cheaper and ones that are more expensive, and this is my 3rd year with it. It has held up very, very well, and I like it a lot. The next item that we're going to talk about are grow lights. I personally think that you need to have grow lights. Even if you have a super sunny window, that's great. I don't. My house is very dark. I do not have a lot of natural light in this house. I have nowhere in this house that I would be able to set up my seed starting operation and it have enough light to be successful. And I think that that's true for all of you. I guess maybe depending on where you are in the world. I can't speak to that. I don't know if you're somewhere that has long days in the wintertime, then I guess this wouldn't apply to you. But if you are like me in the US, the northern US especially, our days are very short in the winter time and early spring, and my seedlings would not get enough light even if they were in a sunny window. And so the grow lights are phenomenal. I absolutely believe that I've had the success that I've had starting seeds indoors because of my grow lights. Now, my rack is 4 feet, it must be just a little bit more than 4 feet wide. And so I have 2-foot grow lights, and I put them next to each other, and they connect to one another. Can you see that there, that connector? And then this is the plug to plug it into the wall. So I can string these together, and you can also buy 4-foot or various width lights. And so I could buy ones that are 4 feet long and are the length of my grow rack. But I like having the small ones because I can adjust the heights. That means on one rack, I can have something tall next to something short, and I can have the lights adjusted for each of them. And so that's why I went with the short ones. I do have 2 that have the purple light, and I bought them on accident. I prefer them to have just the white light. That's what I have right here, just the white light. I prefer it, and it works very, very well. My seedlings do well with it, and I've never had any issues with these particular ones. These lights I've purchased from Home Depot. I'll try to find the exact ones on Amazon, and if I can't, I will link something very similar that has good reviews. But I love, and these ones came with these chains, so I can adjust the height. I can have it all the way up here if I've got something mature that's tall, and I also can have it lower if I have fresh new seedlings that just sprouted that need the light right on them. This next item is actually not essential, but I really, really like it, and that is a timer. So I have my lights strung together, and then this one allows you to plug 2 plugs in, and so I actually have 2 of these, and I might even need to, I want to buy more grow lights this year, so I may even have to invest in a 3rd one of these, but it allows you to set the time that the lights come on and off. So I have my lights come on at 6 a.m. and go off at 9 p.m. So what is that, 15 hours of light, I think, somewhere in there? And that works. I've messed around with different times and lengths, and that seems to work really well for me. And so I do the 6 a.m. to the 9 p.m. and that way I don't have to mess with it. I actually do very little with my seed starting. I water them, I make sure that they're watered, and then I up pot when I need to up pot, and sometimes I'll do a little bit of fertilization if I think I have to. Otherwise, it's pretty hands off, and I like that because I'm usually very busy in the seed starting season, and it's not something that I can devote all my time to. So having a timer is a big help. I don't forget. I don't have to worry about forgetting. I don't accidentally leave it on all night, etc. And so I like having a timer. It makes it easier. I think I got this, I know I got it from Home Depot, and I think it was $15. So reasonable. The next item that I want to talk about, another optional one, is heating mats. You will absolutely hear it said, if you do any seed starting research, that heating mats are helpful for starting your seeds indoors because oftentimes seeds like a warm environment to sprout and to grow, and especially with things like tomatoes and peppers, you'll see a faster, stronger germination rate if you use a heating mat, and that is all very true. I do not own a heating mat. I'm going into my 3rd year starting my seeds indoors. I'm not planning on purchasing one. I don't know if I'll ever purchase one, if I'm being honest with you. A couple of situations where having a heating mat would be helpful is if you are starting your seeds in a basement or in an attic, if you're short on space and you're kind of trying to stash this somewhere, or if your house just generally in the wintertime is not very warm, then perhaps a heating mat would be a good idea. I have my seed starting set up in a spare bedroom here upstairs, and it's not super warm in here. I keep my heat set at 65 degrees, and I keep this door shut, and it stays decently okay in here, and I have never had an issue. I start my peppers and my tomatoes and everything from seeds, and they sprout and grow just fine without any issues. Would they perhaps grow a little faster if I used a heating mat? Maybe. But when you are starting seeds indoors, you have to be cautious about when you start them, because tomatoes are a great example of something that can get really big really fast, and you have to put it somewhere. And I start a lot of tomatoes from seed, probably 30 to 40 plants. I don't have room in here for 30 to 40 mature tomato plants. And you don't want mature tomato plants indoors for too long because they can become root bound and you can have issues. So I'm okay with a perhaps slower germination rate, not using a heating mat. It gives me a little more time to get to transplant day, and it's just not necessary. Plus you have to plug them in, and I'm running out of outlets in here. With using all of my grow lights, I don't have very many outlets left. So the heating mats, totally optional, and I don't use them. All right, the next thing that we need to talk about are trays. Now, please excuse me, these are dirty. I need to take them down into my basement sink and give them a good bleach, diluted bleach water wash, and get them ready to start seeds in this season. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to seed starting trays, I recommend getting good quality trays. Now, if this is your first year gardening and you are very tight on money, or if you're not sure you're going to like it, then sure, go ahead and buy the trays from the Dollar Tree or Dollar General or Walmart that are flimsy. You're just gonna use them for one season to see if you even like it, or that's just genuinely all you can afford. I did that. I'm still filtering out some of those flimsy trays. My very first year, it was only last year that I bought these. These are Bootstrap Farmer trays. I'll link them down in the description. They are fantastic. They are very sturdy, and I'm hard on my stuff. They hold up very well, and I absolutely foresee me having these trays for years and years. They're so sturdy. Of course, you don't even need a seed starting tray. If you're really trying to get started on a budget, I know that you can start seeds in egg cartons, you can start seeds in old yogurt containers, you can start seeds in old milk jug containers. So of course, use whatever resources you have. But if you're in a situation where perhaps you do have the resources, I recommend purchasing good seed starting trays from the start, because you're just going to waste money buying the flimsy ones. You're eventually going to have to replace those sooner rather than later. So just start with the good ones. And Bootstrap Farmer, they're excellent, they're affordable, and they've been holding up very well for me. Here's an example. So these are just the trays themselves, and then I have these plants just sitting in the bottom part of that tray. So this bottom part goes with the seed starting trays, but I've since up potted these into bigger pots. And so I like to bottom water my seedlings. So this tray sits in this tray, and you can pour the water into the bottom, and the seeds and the soil will soak it up from the bottom and establish really great roots. I love those, that style seed starting tray. From there, I'm still, because I up pot, I like to get a really good jump on my season because I live in New York, and so I don't have a terribly long grow season. So I do start things relatively early, which almost guarantees I'm gonna have to up pot. Up pot means that it has outgrown its little seed starting cell and it needs to be put into a bigger pot. This is an example of a kale plant that I have up potted into this bigger pot, and I am still experimenting with finding a good one of these. So far, all of the ones I have because I purchased plants from a nursery or a box store that came in the pot. They're mismatched like crazy. I just so happen to have all of these and these black ones, but it's just a coincidence, and they're actually not even all the same size. So when it comes to the up potting pots, I don't have a great recommendation from experience because I haven't purchased any nice ones yet, but I do know from listening to other YouTubers that Bootstrap Farmer does have really sturdy, great up potting pots as well. So that's probably what I'll link down in the description for you. And eventually that's what I'll purchase. But they're hardy enough at that point that if I do put them in something a little flimsier, it's fine. I'm not that worried about it. They're not usually in their up potted pots for very long. They're going to be transplanted outside shortly. And that is, you'll see this year, I still use red Solo cups for my tomato up pots. And it is what it is right now. But I at least recommend the seed starting trays because, so let's see, these guys, as well as the tray part that I just showed you, I've had them collapse on me before because when it starts to get nicer out, I like to harden my seeds off, which means I take them outside and let them be in the fresh air for a little while. And they're heavy, they're full of soil, the plants are growing, they can get really heavy. I've had them literally collapse in my hands and I just have dirt and sprouts all over the ground, and it's tragic. That happened to me last year. So that's why I wanted to, I actually upgraded to the Bootstrap Farmer ones mid-seed starting season last year because I was like, I can't do this anymore with these flimsy ones. So that's why I recommend that. The next thing that you need to have to get started is soil. So when you are starting seeds indoors, you need a soil that is light and fluffy. And that's because a seed has only so much energy in it once it breaks out of its outer shell. It has just enough energy to get through the soil and up to where it can reach the light. And when you start your seeds in really thick, dense soil, there's a good chance that the seed won't have enough energy to push through it and get up to the light. And so you want to start your seeds in something light and fluffy. And so you can buy seed starting mix. And all this means is it's a light, fluffy soil. Oftentimes it already has a little bit of perlite or vermiculite mixed into it, and it is ideal for starting seeds. However, it is not very nutrient dense because you're not trying to keep something alive, nurture something, really get a lot of growth out of it. You're just starting it. And so this seed starting mix often, like I said, doesn't have a lot of nutrients. So you need a seed starting mix, but then you also need another type of soil to up pot your plants into if you think they're going to be inside long enough. If you're only starting your seeds 2, 3, 4 weeks before it's time to put them out, then you could probably get away with just having them in the seed starting mix. Like I said, I start mine months ahead because I really like to get a good jump on the season. So I have to up pot mine into a hardier soil that it has more nutrients and such in it. And I still have not found a great source for that. I have heard other YouTubers say Vermont compost, I think it's called, is a good option. So there are things you can order online. You can go to the big box stores. Last year, if you're new to my channel and you haven't heard this, last year I really struggled and it was devastating. I purchased a bag of soil to up pot my seeds into, and it was contaminated with something. I still don't know exactly what, but it was contaminated with something. And all of the plants that I up potted using that new soil died or struggled so much that it didn't buy me any time to start them indoors because they struggled so much when I put them outside. I would have been better off just putting the seed in the ground outside. So you have to be so cautious with the soil that you are purchasing to make sure that it is not contaminated. And something that you can do to tell is to plant something that sprouts quickly, like a bean, in your soil and watch it. Does it sprout and then immediately die, curl up? Do the leaves turn yellow? Does it just overall struggle? Then it might be a contaminated bag of soil. And you bet your sweet buns I'm going to be testing every bag of soil that I bring into this house this season because I'm not doing that again. That's so sad to see all your hard work, all your beautiful seedlings shrivel up and die because of contaminated soil. And I imagine, and this is just a thought, it's probably going to get worse as time goes on. So test every bag of soil you bring in when you are starting your seeds indoors and when you're putting soil in your garden outside. Either way, just test it because it's not worth the heartache. In terms of what I'm going to do this year for soil, I'm not exactly sure yet. Some people buy like a seed starting mix from the store. Some people make their own, kind of get their own separate ingredients and mix it together. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet this year, but whatever it is, I'll probably make its own video talking about that. But I just needed to mention soil because, well, you need it to start seeds indoors. Another one that I have treated as optional in the past, but I'm not going to this year, is a fan. Now, here's the thing. When you start seeds indoors, it's often very stagnant, still air, right? And when you take them outside to transplant into your garden, they are going to be affected by the elements. And so when you kind of brush the plants and touch them, you're actually strengthening the root system because they're saying, oh, hey, you know, we're being stimulated. Let's strengthen our roots. Let's strengthen ourselves so that we can hold up against this stimulation. And I don't have time to be in here every hour brushing and touching my plants to make that happen. So what you can do is put a fan on them, just a regular, like that you'd have in your bedroom or your office, just a fan to circulate some air and get them to kind of, if it's an oscillating fan, that's ideal. And it stimulates wind, right? And it strengthens your seedlings. So when they go outside and they are subjected to the wind, they're already strong and can withstand it. And I have not done that in the past. I've never had a fan in here before. And like I said, it's kind of optional. I have started seeds and have successfully gotten them outside without the fan, but it is just something that you can do to really strengthen your seedlings and give you the best chance of success. And with as seriously as I'm going to take growing food this year, I want it to be successful, so I am going to put a fan in here. Plus, you can get an oscillating fan at Dollar General for like $8. So I think it's worth it, and I will be doing that this year. The very last thing that we need to talk about in terms of what you need to start seeds indoors are seeds. Now, I am new enough in this journey that I don't have any fun, sophisticated, cool way of storing my seeds. I just have them in a big mailing envelope. I got a big order of seeds from Baker Creek, and they came in this envelope, and this is just what I store all of my seeds in. And guys, I have so many seeds. I have seeds on seeds on seeds. And I'm not even going to be starting all of these. So I do recommend, I want to talk about seeds for just a minute. This is not, I could probably do a video just on seeds. We're just going to talk about it for a second. Obviously, you need seeds. If you are on a budget, like I said, then absolutely you can buy seeds from the dollar store, from Walmart, from just wherever you can find them, and they're decently priced, right? They're $1.50 up to maybe $3.50 depending on what it is, and that's fine. I have enjoyed branching out and supporting other companies. So I purchase a lot of my seeds from Baker Creek. I do really love Baker Creek, but you do need to read the reviews because they're constantly developing new things, which is great, but also sometimes you can end up with something that is a bit of a bust. And I have had varieties from them that have just been a total bust for me. So read the reviews. I really like M.I. Gardner. I've gotten quite a few seeds from them, and they've been great. Haas Tools, they sell seeds. They don't sell as many seeds, but I've gotten some from them and I've had really great luck. That's also who I get my garlic from, and I had really great luck with that as well. So they sell really quality stuff. Those are the three that I have real experience with. I know Botanical Interests is another one that people really like. Wild Boar Farms is another one that people really like. There are tons of seed companies out there. So just do your research. What are other people talking about? Get some catalogs mailed to your house. They're so fun in this blistery, snowy January to look at the seed catalogs and to dream of the summertime. So sign up for them, get them sent to your house, and just get started. That's really the best advice I can give you when it comes to seeds. Could we go through every single one of those seed varieties one by one to talk about which ones I recommend? Sure. But your circumstances are different than mine, and what does well for me may not do well for you. So although, yes, take in the information and the advice from other people, just get started. Just pick a couple tomato varieties, a couple cucumber varieties, what have you, that sound good to you. Read the description, make sure that they're ideal for your growing situation, and just get started. And keep a journal. I have a gardening journal. It's around here somewhere, and I write down the various varieties and I take notes during the season on what does well and what doesn't. And it allows me to get rid of things that I don't like and introduce new things that I may like. And it just really helps me grow as a gardener. So that's my recommendations with the actual seeds. For the seed starting, just get started. Buy a few, see how they do. And honestly, I know that gardening can sound so scary and be so intimidating, but it's not. And I don't have a green thumb, I kill plants. We all do. And it is so true. I know you've heard other people say it. It's so true that I plant extra because I know some will die. I am a decent gardener and I still have stuff die. I have stuff die all the time. I just plant so much that it doesn't really bother me too much when stuff dies because I've got more. I have some successful kale plants in here. I started way more than that. I have 4. I started like 8. Things die. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't think that you're doing a bad job. It's all a learning process. Nobody is born with the knowledge to garden, just like nobody is born with kitchen skills. I say that all the time. You develop them through time, practice, and experience. So just get started. Friends, if I missed anything in this guide to what you need to start seeds indoors, please let me know. I think I covered everything. I'm pretty sure. There's more we could talk about, like fertilizers and whatnot, but I just wanted to mention the things that I felt you needed to really get started, and I wanted to encourage you to do that. 2024 is your year to start gardening. I'm here for you. I want to encourage you. Let me know down in the comments if you are in this place. Are you thinking about starting seeds indoors? Are you thinking about starting a garden? I'm here for any of your questions. I'm here to encourage you and to chat with you about it. And I really hope you have an amazing gardening season this 2024. Thank you so much for chatting with me about gardening, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Have faith, my friends, and keep moving forward. Bye.